If you're anything like me, on a budget, trying to save a bit of money and stay healthy at the same time, you can often end up thinking, why is it so expensive? Turns out it's actually not. Here are my 3 top tips on how to eat healthy on a budget. Let's get into it, shall we? So welcome back to the MacroCrunch YouTube channel. It's been a little while since there's been an upload, but I'm back in full swing, got a load of more free time, ready to make content again. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 top tips on how to eat healthy, whether that's trying to gain weight, lose weight. I'll give you options for both on a budget. But let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into it with tip number 1. So tip number 1 is just to evaluate what you're buying. There's a lot of misconstrued information online about what you should be eating, what's healthy, what's not. Honestly, the best way if you want to cut money and make some good savings is just to look at calories in, calories out. Now, this isn't an excuse to go for the super cheap and terrible quality foods, because a lot of the time, unhealthy, high calorie foods or really low calorie foods are the cheapest options, but they're not necessarily nutrient dense. So what I mean by evaluate your shopping is just look at what you're buying and see if it's really necessary. For example, a lot of online influencers and information sources will tell you that a really good source of protein is salmon, but it's actually really expensive in some cases, and you can get a lot of the same protein and nutritional benefits from cheaper options, and they're just better options all round if you're trying to save money. Things like this include ground beef, ground pork. Even if you get the leaner cuts, the 5%, 2% sort of products, they're going to be a little bit more expensive than the higher fat ones, but they're going to be way cheaper than things like salmon or even chicken breasts in some cases. As well as this, if you're looking at pre-cut and pre-prepared vegetables, you know how you can get cut carrots, you can get pre-made salad mixes. Whilst they're cheap, buying the raw ingredients tends to even be cheaper. For example, you can get most single ingredient whole form vegetables for less than like 20p, 30p. So I'd much more recommend doing that than buying pre-prepared vegetables. It's going to take you a little bit more time to prepare, but it's so worth it in the end. Equally, if you're trying to gain weight and you want to add some more calories in, there's a ton of ways you can do this too on a budget. For example, things like rice, pasta, oats are great carb sources that cost very little money. If you're trying to get more protein in, turn to things like canned tuna, canned fish, other canned meats like canned chicken. It sounds disgusting and there's a bit of a misconception around it that it isn't, great quality, but it actually isn't too bad, and it's a much cheaper option if you're on a budget. Again, it depends on your circumstance. If you can afford to spend that little bit extra on the fresh stuff, go for it. As well as this, frozen food is a great option as well. It tends to be a lot cheaper and you're going to get a decent quality and decent quantity for your money. Tip number 2, if you want to go down the supplement route of getting things like protein bars, protein shakes, powders, all this sort of stuff, it can be very, very expensive. Now, there are 2 tips in one here, because I'm really treating you guys. But what I personally do is I look on discount websites and in discount stores where things tend to be slightly shorter dated. Not always, but it tends to be the case because I get through things quite quickly and I don't put any of it to waste. Now, these sites include places, and I'm not endorsed to say this at all, it's not an advert, places like discountsupplements.co.uk, shops like B&M, Home Bargains, Pound Stretcher. They're really good options for buying protein bars, powders and whatnot. Also, your local gym may even have a selection of bars and powders and whatnot that are near their sell-by date that they're planning on just throwing out. It doesn't hurt to ask behind the counter. I know my old gym used to have a bucket that they would sell protein bars in for £1. You never know, your gym might have the same thing, they just don't advertise it as much. Tip number 3 is to buy in bulk. Now, there are a lot of good places you can go. Here in the UK, we've got places like Costco, that's the most well-known one. I know you have that over in the States and the rest of Europe. There's also places like Sam's Club. I know that they're similar to Costco in the wholesale sort of market. These are great options because you tend to be able to buy bigger packs of the same products you can get in normal supermarkets, but they're at a slightly discounted price because of the economies of scale. Now, I won't go too much into that, but essentially it's cheaper for more. The unit cost per item is cheaper. Great way of getting products. Now, depending on what it is you're after, if you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, whatever the goal is, you can get products that are going to fit your goals and help you achieve them. For example, protein bars, protein powders tend to come in bigger bags and bigger packs, but they'll be cheaper per unit. Therefore, if you buy them, they're going to last you longer and they're going to cost you less over that time. It seems obvious when you spell it out like this, but a lot of people just don't know about it. And it is actually a very slept on concept, an idea that you can actually utilize pretty easily. I'll even throw a little bonus tip in at the end here, and my personal favourite: be consistent with what you're buying. For example, I personally budget quite well on my monthly income, and I buy around that. For example, I budget for £30 on shopping a week. This allows me to get everything I need for quite a low cost. Eating consistently the same sort of foods, of course I switch it up so it's not too repetitive and it's still enjoyable, but by eating consistently the same or similar foods, I know exactly what sort of ballpark area I'm going to be spending each week. Here in the UK, I shop at cheaper supermarkets where the quality is still at a very satisfactory level, but I'm getting bang for my buck essentially. I recommend you try this. It's something that I tried thinking, oh, maybe it'll make a difference, maybe it won't, and I stick to it religiously now, so it's actually really worked out well for me, and it probably will for you as well. But that's it for this video, guys. Just a short one today, just to give you guys some tips on how to save money and eat healthy, whether you're trying to gain muscle and gain weight, lose weight, cut fat, or just maintain, all while having a good time, an enjoyable diet, and saving some cashola. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us over on Instagram. You know the drill by now, at MacroCrunch on Instagram. Down the bottom in the middle, as always. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment. Let us know your top tips for how to save money and eat healthy, achieve your goals on a budget. Subscribe for more content, as I said on Instagram and I said in previous videos. We're coming back strong. More videos, more free time, higher production value. We're taking MacroCrunch to the moon, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.